Published in 1953, Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 is one of the most read, studied, and acclaimed dystopian novels ever written. Initially inspired by his own concerns over oppressive regimes, mass media, and a lack of critical thinking, Bradbury subsequently finished the novel after first writing several short stories that explored similar ideas. Although Fahrenheit 451 is often credited with tackling themes of governmental control and societal censorship, its reach goes far beyond, mirroring today's issues with things like cancel culture, heavy reliance on technological advancement and artificial intelligence, and of course, what a world would look like without readers. Before continuing, a disclaimer: there will be spoilers in this book review. Without further ado, let's review. Parted into 3 parts, Fahrenheit 451 tells the tale of the futuristic society that surrounds Guy Montag, a fireman whose job is to start fires to ban books and the houses that harbor them. Part 1, The Hearth and the Salamander, introduces the reader to the Society of Montag, a society where new structures are now fireproof and firemen's only job is to hunt books and burn them. A society where housewives are consumed by technology, playing roles in interactive television programs. And a society where daily suicide attempts are status quo. While Montag keeps up with work and deals with his wife Mildred's averted overdose and consumeristic demands, he begins to question everything he thought he knew thanks to his new neighbor, Clarice McClellan. Almost 17, McClellan is everything people are not. She's whimsical, thinks freely and speaks her mind, and is unafraid of asking questions. For example, she asks Montag about his job as a fireman, if he knew that firefighters used to actually put out fires, and if he is truly happy. These questions, along with her spirited nature, cause Montag to question everything, and he begins to really look forward to their conversations together. After a series of events unfold, Clarice goes missing, later to be revealed that she was actually hit and struck by a vehicle and is now dead. An elderly woman lights herself on fire, refusing to leave her books, as Montag and other firemen attempt to set fire to them and the house. And Montag steals a book and keeps it for himself. Montag awakens violently ill, psychologically traumatized from the events that he's witnessed and the cerebral awakening that he seems to be having. Although Montag needs support, his wife Mildred is consumed with her interactive television programs and the money that is needed to keep up with those technological demands, and she is sent into a panic when Montag suggests that he should take time away from work. Additionally, after Montag is visited at his home by Captain Beatty, his boss, he is left rattled by this monologue detailing how and why the government transitioned firefighters from putting out fires to then starting them to books, and suggests to Montag that any fireman hiding a book of his own is expected to burn it, or it will be burned for him. Mildred and the reader learn that Montag has secretly been hiding books for the past year, well before his first meeting with Clarice. Part 2, The Sieve in the Sand, we have Montag and Mildred still quarreling over what is important in life: Mildred's technological entertainment or Montag's books. Montag eventually seeks guidance from Faber, an English professor that he met many years ago, and seeks guidance from him to understand the text that he's reading through the use of an earpiece. After attempting again to get Mildred's attention off of her technology and on to literature, he becomes so disillusioned by her and society's seeming lack of interest in anything that really matters: the suicide epidemic, the apparent war, and any form of critical thinking. Montag's world clashes further when the next fire call is for his own house, much thanks to Mildred. Part 3, Burning Bright, details the aftermath. Mildred leaves, Montag is forced to destroy the home, and Beatty is later burned alive and killed by Montag. At the suggestion of Faber, Montag escapes and ends up finding a group of exiled intellectuals. The book closes with the society that they once knew now destroyed from nuclear attacks from the war, and the surviving intellectuals and Montag's return to rebuild. 140 pages in length, Fahrenheit 451 is insane, and in the best ways. Just the image alone of a firefighter setting fires and to books. It's insane and breathtaking. This is one of those rare cases where even if the novel was terribly written, I think the idea and the image alone would be enough to carry it along. Luckily, Ray Bradbury is a very interesting writer, and I think his unique and prophetic prose really make this book untouchable. I want to first talk about Bradbury's ability to grab the reader's attention and really hold on to it. One of the best opening lines ever. It was a pleasure to burn. Immediately, the reader is locked in and continues to go on to read several paragraphs that are interwoven with each and every possible way to describe fire. It was a special pleasure to see things eaten, to see things blackened and changed. His hands were the hands of some amazing conductor playing all the symphonies of blazing and burning to bring down the tatters and charcoal ruins of history. His eyes all orange flame with the thought of what came next. He flicked the igniter and the house jumped up in a gorging fire that burned the evening sky red and yellow and black. He strode in a swarm of fireflies, while the flapping, pigeon-winged books died on the porch and lawn of the house. Montag grinned the fierce grin all men singed and driven back by flame. Are you kidding me? A fireman starting fires and reveling at the thought of books burning, which books are not just educational and informational, but they're works of art. That image is haunting. But balanced by Bradbury's poetic language, it makes the book so much more readable, enjoyable, and vivid. As mentioned earlier, his prose is prophetic. Fahrenheit 451 obviously deals with censorship, but the book also dives into issues of consumerism, technological advancement, mass media, diverting people's attention away from more intellectually demanding materials. And I know this topic is one that many people are just screaming as loud as they can from the rooftops about. And to think that he wrote all of this in the 1950s, and it's so on target for what so many parts of society look like today, it's both compelling and very distressing. One of the best parts of the novel to me is the famous monologue by Beatty, explaining how and why the firemen ended up becoming what they did, and how it really all began with the degradation of the mind. Picture it, 19th century man with his horses, dogs, cart, slow motion. Then, in the 20th century, speed up your camera, books cut shorter, condensations, digests, tabloids, everything boils down to the gag, the snap ending. School is shortened, discipline relaxed, philosophies, histories, languages dropped, English and spelling gradually neglected, finally almost completely ignored. In today's world, this sentiment is really reflective. Businesses use and rely on AI to speed up operations and to cut costs. Students use AI to create synopses for larger texts, to answer questions, and to generate responses, oftentimes cutting down on the amount of time spent on homework and study. And more short-form media content is being consumed by people on the internet. And all these things may not sound terrible on paper, but we've all seen the ramifications of these things come to fruition. We see businesses prioritize cost over quality and the human experience. We see many students struggle to read effectively and break down and understand what used to be basic information and think critically without assistance. And we keep seeing the demand for shorter videos and less worded texts due to inability to pay attention. Bradbury also makes the point through Beatty's monologue that society's obsession with happiness, equality, and political correctness essentially means eradicating anything that produces an emotion contradictory to immediate surface-level satisfaction. Ask yourself, what do we want in this country above all? People want to be happy. Colored people don't like Little Black Sambo? Burn it. White people don't feel good about Uncle Tom's Cabin? Burn it. Someone's written a book on tobacco and cancer of the lungs. The cigarette people are weeping. Burn the book. Serenity, Montag. Peace, Montag. The books say nothing. Nothing you can teach or believe. They're about non-existent people, figments of imagination if they're fiction. And if they're non-fiction, it's worse. One professor calling another an idiot. One philosopher screaming down another's gullet. All of them running about, putting out the stars and extinguishing the sun. You come away lost. Although Fahrenheit 451 is a strong novel and Bradbury is a strong writer, critics are everywhere. Critiques that surface often are moments of cliche prose, ill character development, and inappropriate character relations. As discussed earlier, I think Bradbury's prose is exquisite for the most part. However, I will admit that there are a few times where his descriptions feel too common or even lazy. One example that comes to mind is his initial description of Clarice, this young, beautiful, pale-skinned girl, skin like milk and snow. With all his rich description and clever prose, I just sometimes am left to wonder, like, thinking you couldn't think of any other way to describe a pale girl. Like, those are the most common ways to describe pale skin ever. Mildred is a character sometimes cited as being shallow and underdeveloped. I actually tend to think that she's developed perfectly. Mildred is the quintessential bored housewife who is unhappy and addicted to her daytime television and shallow conversations, is too thin and has fried and damaged hair, and functions through life by way of sleeping pills. Her two-dimensional, consumer-driven appearance to me is the point. I think it's perfect. The biggest character issue tends to center around Montag and his relationship with teenage Clarice. While there is nothing sexual about their relationship in the book, some readers do take issue with the fact that this cerebral awakening and curiosity that Montag is undergoing is at the hands of a beautiful teenage girl. Although I don't believe this was Bradbury's intent, I do think her youth and beauty being described by Montag, in addition to his comparison of her to his wife, at the very least, could be inappropriate and atypical. Many readers just question why the person sent to shake up Montag's world, experience, and views has to be a teenage girl. Perhaps making her older, giving her a different story, or making this quirky, free-thinking character a guy, maybe that would hold more merit. What I will say is both film adaptations have changed the role and age of Clarice, for better or worse, but Bradbury very publicly supported the changes that were made in the 1966 adaptation. Despite a book's flaws, the ultimate test of impact to me is whether I wish I wrote it. And I wish I wrote Fahrenheit 451. One of the most chilling, powerful, and all-encompassing dystopian novels I've ever read. 5 out of 5, of course. I don't think it's the perfect novel, but I do think it delivers its points perfectly. The things you're looking for, Montag, are in the world, but the only way the average chap will ever see 99% of them is in a book. Don't ask for guarantees. Don't look to be saved in any one thing, person, machine, or library. Do your own bit of saving, and if you drown, at least die knowing you are headed for shore.